Welcome and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. When I think about the Gathering Lighthouse, our big saying there is you're the boss of you.
Yes.
You are the boss of you in this room and out there in the world. And so think about that when things go wrong. What's that about? If I'm the boss of me, how did I get myself in this position? Now I have to take responsibility for myself. No one has to tell them. Not when they know that they're the boss of themselves, then they begin to figure it out on their own. And people have come there. I have people who have been coming 8 years. And then there are those who come for maybe a year and then they go off and they begin their own groups. They open up their own places. And I'm so proud to know that they came to us and then learned so much for themselves that they felt good about standing in that position of power within their own lives and open up a position where someone else can come to them and learn what they learned. So it's such a wonderful payoff for us, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So I have another question for you. We can get lost in a cycle of, okay, I am feeling negatively about not having a job. I know that I am creating this. I know that I'm creating the victim mindset. And I know that the more I think negatively about what I don't have as opposed to what I do have, the worse it's going to get. But I do a kind of a self-sabotage cycle of, oh no, here I go again, and beating myself up. We talked about the Piscean thing, but I think human nature. So how does one get from, I know I shouldn't do this, I have the knowledge, but it's the actions. When we get stuck in our stuff, what do you suggest?
Well, I personally have been through a whole lot last 3 years, physically and mentally, emotionally, in all ways. And one day I just said to myself, because I was doing that, you know, for me, the victim, and I realized that I wasn't looking at what I had. I wasn't thinking about what I could be grateful for. And so I started turning that around. And every time I wanted to have a negative thought, I would say to myself, okay, what are you grateful for? It was simple, that very simple statement for myself, that question. I mean, what are you grateful for? And then I would stop and think. And then I would find, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things I was grateful for. And it would turn me around because it is difficult. Life is difficult. It's not an easy thing for us. And so being able to just stop and go, where is the gratitude? Where are the things that you want to look to see how grateful you are, that you are who you are, you live the life you live, you have the people in the life you have. Yesterday, what you thought was going to go wrong didn't, you know? So it's like a stop sign.
Yeah.
As soon as I'm feeling bad, I see that stop sign and I go, okay, what are you grateful for? And then it turns things around for me.
That is a great practical exercise. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. And it's nothing, you know, it's not religious, it's not psychic, it's not anything. It's just within myself. What am I grateful for?
Shifting the energy. Absolutely.
Shifting the energy. Sure.
So I have another question for you. When I was producing at Nightingale 10, 15 years ago, a lot of the spiritual authors were all about, we are at the precipice, the advent of the golden age. And so now I hear it more and more. And what I've heard is we're kind of at that edge of the cliff. And the image I always see is we can either jump and jump past those jagged rocks that are going to hurt, or we can fall into the rocks. I would love your take on this shift and everything the world's going through right now, and how we can support an easier, more gentle movement, if that's possible.
What I believe is that we're entering in the very beginning of Aquarius, okay? And Aquarius is not this big emotional life we've been living in Pisces. It's more of a mental thought type of energy, and how when we're feeling despondent or down or what we're feeling, all that, I start to think, which is more Aquarian thinking, using your intellect, so forth. And I think, what am I grateful for? And that kind of takes and flips that whole thing so that I can move past the energy of all that sad emotional stuff that's going on in me into the more productive, thoughtful thing that can occur in the future, or what is occurring actually in my life.